Oh, when it comes to the top 4 spots down the line for that CFP, you can plug in Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State. Outside of that, who is checking in at a number 4 spot? Clemson, no strangers to making an appearance. Oklahoma could be in the mix with new head coach Brent Venables there. He's seen the postseason with Clemson, now over at the Big 12. And yes, the Pac-12, maybe, why not? Lincoln Riley and the transfer portal magic working so far out west when it comes to USC. So with all 3 games there, it's 3-0 across the board for the Tigers, Sooners, and Trojans there. All 3 ranked in the top 10 when it comes to the AP poll, coaches poll, and yes, the CBS Sports 131. Per usual, the closer we get to that first CFP ranking that comes out later this season, it will come down to the wins and losses, but more importantly, who they're playing this year. Checking in out here on HQ, my guy Barrett Sallee, who knows all this when it comes to the CFP. The closer we get to that, we know the name of the game here, Barrett. It's all about the strength of schedule. What do you break down for us a little bit when we're talking all 3 here, starting with Clemson, their chances and their path to that CFP?
Yeah, I don't think Clemson's going to get the benefit of the doubt, the name brand recognition like it used to because of last year. And because when you look at the perception, it's that the offense still struggles. And the offense does still struggle. DJ Uiagalelei is a liability back there. We might see a move to Cade Klubnik. And I think the ACC just isn't going to do Clemson any favors. What really would help Clemson is if Florida State keeps up what it's doing right now. Going to be difficult without Jared Verse and Jordan Travis. Their injuries still sort of up in the air. But Clemson needs Florida State. They need NC State. And they need a really good opponent in the ACC championship game. I don't necessarily know if it's there. I think one thing that really hurts Clemson is that Notre Dame has been a train wreck, and Miami, the offense isn't really where it needs to be. So I don't think Clemson's going to get the benefit of the doubt. It needs to get some style points, and I don't necessarily know if that offense is capable of earning those style points based on what we've seen so far.
All right, so the Tigers need some help there. As you mentioned, at Florida State, they'll see them on October 15th. Currently, the Seminoles 3-0, their best start in quite some time. But outside of that, as you mentioned, Notre Dame not doing them any favors. And then you see Miami there on November 19th. That's ranked in top of 25 there. All right, Oklahoma 6th in the country there. Do they have enough, though, when it comes to their schedule within that Big 12?
I think it depends on the landscape, and I think it depends on what that team looks like. And what we've seen from Oklahoma so far, we know Dylan Gabriel's good. We know the offense with Jeff Levy as the offensive coordinator is going to put up points. But their defense has been pretty solid. And I think that's the biggest thing is that there's this perception. And look, the College Football Playoff Selection Committee is not supposed to take other seasons in its decision-making process, but they're humans. They have eyes. They understand that Oklahoma's defense has been a disaster lately. So I think when it comes to this schedule, Texas needs to keep up. Texas needs to keep this momentum going, especially if Quinn Ewers isn't their quarterback. Look, it's coming up, October 8th. That's not that far away. I don't necessarily think the Baylor game helps them all that much anymore. Oklahoma State rivalry game in Norman, that certainly can help. But I do think this is a team that needs style points, but I think it's easier for Oklahoma to get it because their problem in the past, seemingly so far, has been fixed, relatively speaking. Now, we've been fooled by Oklahoma's defense before. We might be fooled again, but the playoff selection committee, like I said, they're not supposed to take other seasons into account, but they're humans. They have eyes. They understand that Oklahoma pre-Brent Venables was disastrous defensively. Here comes Brent Venables, a defensive-minded coach. If he changes that, it certainly will help.
That Texas game will be interesting, but you can't forget about October 15th. Kansas should be ranked. They're 3-0, so that could be one of those trap games there. If you want to, I'm just saying, it's out there. The people are saying it, Barrett. We may not be saying it, but it's out there. I'm just saying. All right, let's look at the Pac-12. The USC right behind them at 7th in the country. Outside of Utah in October, can they rise to the top based on what we're seeing in their schedule?
Well, I think the schedule, it does depend on who they, if they make the Pac-12 championship, who they play in that Pac-12 championship. But I think right now, you have to assume that they will get to that point. Remember, no divisions in terms of making the Pac-12 championship this year. So I think USC with Caleb Williams and Jordan Addison and Lincoln Riley, offense drives the bus. The selection committee can look at that and be very, very attracted to what USC is doing. And look, they know regionality is a problem. USC, if it's good enough, they're probably going to get it in because they're still businessmen. But the schedule itself, at Utah, I still think that's going to be a tough game. I think they'll get Utah again in the Pac-12 championship game because I'm not buying the Oregon hype yet. And Notre Dame, that's the big one. Can Notre Dame fix it? Can they figure it out? I don't necessarily know, but they need to fix that defense. We saw against Fresno State, struggled a bit, even with Jake Haener out midway through that game. But you don't see any really spot for style points on there except at Utah. But if they can beat Utah twice, I think that'll certainly help. And plus, again, selection committee members, they're humans. They know what sells. They know that having a team out west, especially a traditional power, will certainly bring some eyeballs to the college football playoff. And I think appease college football fans who have, I would say, been a little frustrated with the Southeast and the Southern sort of regionality to the college football playoff.
All right, got to let you go, Barrett, but real quickly, out of the three, who has the best chance in your eyes?
I think it's USC. I think, again, offense drives the bus. We know what they're capable of. They're going to put up 40 points a game. The question is, can somebody else keep up? Can their opponent keep up? And really, I don't see many opponents that can keep up. It wouldn't surprise me at all, based on what we've seen so far, if USC goes undefeated.
Everything looking good in Hollywood for Lincoln Riley and Trojans here, number 7 in the country. Barrett Sallee, as always, tapping in. Appreciate your time. Don't forget the guys on the Cover 3 podcast keeping busy as well, talking about the Power 5 schools. Who will be the next coach to be fired there? What's the ceiling for Florida State, still undefeated? And then, of course, Herm Edwards to fall out there at Arizona State and making sense of the busy weekend for Urban Meyer to Nebraska rumors? Download and give the guys a follow.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.